What a good question.
Jesus doesn't make for a very good protagonist because he's perfect. But I was really, really moved by that.
Fun. It was like making us laugh in the middle of the tape.
Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you. We actually spoke before when your movie came out. I was able to interview you, so nice to get to nice to be able to speak with you in person this time. With the new season, kind of covering a more specific time period where it's a little bit more ambiguous with the other seasons. What are the advantages and disadvantages of a season that's more specifically time bound?
What a good question. I have not been asked that question yet. That's very good.
Thank you.
So the advantages are the plot essentially writes itself, right? The outline for the season. Every time before a season, we get together and we outline it out, and we don't necessarily know going into it what our timeline's going to be. This one, there's no room for error. There's no room for playing around. We are within a defined timeline. We ended season 4 at the beginning of the triumphal entry, and we're ending this on the last day of the week before the crucifixion. So that helps us out a little bit, gives us some boundaries that make it easier. The disadvantage is that you have a little less room to try things, right? Yeah. So you're like, all right, we got to fit a lot of content, a lot of important things to say into a short amount of time. But I can tell you it's easier than season 6 because season 6 covers 24 hours. So this feels like an eternity compared to the next season.
So I talk about movies for a living now, but my actual degrees are in Bible and Bible teaching. So I'm fascinated, like when you're trying to figure out how you flesh the story out, what are those other resources that you go to? What are the other outside texts, historical documents, things like that?
Sure. So we have some researchers that help us out. I don't actually have to do too much myself going into all these ancient texts, but there's obviously a lot online. But we're trying to find not only historical context, but cultural context. We use a lot of Jewish historians who can help us with the cultural aspects that aren't actually always included in the Bible, because the Gospels were written to primarily a Jewish audience who understood all these references anyway. So they assumed that the reader would understand. And so now we're trying to go, okay, we got to fill in some of these gaps. And then, of course, there's always just the humanity piece. A lot of it's just our own personal experience going, these were human beings 2,000 years ago. Not a lot has changed. We have the same questions, struggles, doubts, concerns. And the good news is the answer is the same.
And one more question for you. As the impact of the show has kind of grown and its ministry's grown where it's being translated into 100 languages, how has that affected how you write the show with the ministry impact in mind?
I can honestly say that there's no difference between the first season and this season. When I'm sitting on my laptop on my couch writing a season, I can't be thinking about the audience. I can't be thinking about the impact. I'm thinking about my 5 loaves and 2 fish. I want to make them as good as they can. If God chooses to multiply and feed 5,000, that's up to him. Whatever church you decide to attend after watching the show is not up to me. So I really have to keep focused on the work. Otherwise, I'm going to be crippled trying to avoid criticism or gain praise or please one group and not the other. I just have to focus on the work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you again.
Okay, so my brother Sean's actually the one who's the YouTuber, but he's letting me ask the questions because I'm the super fan, and so he's humoring his sister. All right, so
Good brother. It's a good brother.
he is a good brother. I'm supposed to be the cameraman, but he's humoring his sister. Okay, so his question was, how do you approach Jesus as a character that needs to be developed for storytelling, but Jesus is also God and he's immutable, and so God doesn't grow and change, but for storytelling purposes, a character needs to grow and change.
Yeah, so Dallas Jenkins, our creator, would agree, and he said, and because he said that Jesus doesn't make for a very good protagonist because he's perfect, and there's no journey really, but there is in how he deals with everyone around him, and his journey is not from brokenness to wholeness; it's from wholeness to supernatural, mystical. Wholeness, universal wholeness, redemptive wholeness. So I think it's getting to see and understand the salvific aspect of what he did, and to being able to really feel that the sacrifice led to something that was redemptive is his narrative journey.
Question on scripture and memorization.
Yes. Okay. And then the one I was really curious about, so you're having to memorize a lot of scripture as part of the show.
Yes.
And also as Catholic, you would memorize a lot of scripture as part of growing your faith. does memorizing scripture for the show, does it have the same faith growing benefits as it does just for memorizing it as part of your faith growth?
It does, but because we create dialogue that isn't always there and it's kind of intermingled with scripture, it's not pure scripture all the time in the show. So one has to be aware of that and knowing where the creativity begins and the scripture ends and vice versa. So I think having a scriptural foundation is paramount to having an active faith life.
Yo, how's it going?
Nice to meet you.
Just 2 questions. Thank you.
Okay. With this season, we're moving into the Holy Week. It's a tighter time period. Things are getting more intense. What was kind of most surprising and shocking about this latest season for you?
So when we walked into the city of Jerusalem for the first time, I actually didn't know what to expect. I'm Jewish, so that's not a part of my traditions in my family. And so we walked in and we heard cheering and chanting and singing, people laying down their garments for us to walk over. It was truly humbling. I didn't know what to expect, but I was really, really moved by that.
On a fun level, I've heard in the downtime you guys play video games together.
Constantly. Not so much play, it's more like I arrive, I beat whoever sort of arrives next to me.
What do you dominate best at?
It's Super Smash Bros. Okay, it's really any Nintendo game, Mario Kart. It's like, is it even fun when you win every time? It is, because of who you're winning against. So
I play my kids, I dominate Mario Kart, they destroy me in Smash Bros. It's beyond my
That's
brain.
good. Well, listen, you all set up an online room, okay? I will enter, I'll just throw destruction around to everyone, and then it'll be the great equalizer in your family.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, man.
Heard that in the downtime you guys play video games for fun. When
We used to play. We played Mario Tennis, didn't we? I forced you to play Mario Tennis.
Tennis,
with me.
so much
You
fun.
were Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And I was whoever.
Noah claimed that he dominates everybody in all Nintendo games. Is that true?
wouldn't know about
In Mario Tennis,
Yeah.
we both creamed him.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
interesting.
had a learning curve in Mario Tennis, but Mario Kart, no, he's unstoppable.
That's the he mentioned
Smash.
Mario Kart and
Smash,
Okay.
yeah, he's
There we go.
unstoppable. He's
Smash,
unstoppable.
he is unstoppable.
You got to give it to him, but
It's also like he always wants to play me. I'm like, bro, you're gonna beat me. He's just like, don't worry, we'll just see how it goes. He's like addicted to thrashing us in Smash.
pretty much.
And what was the most fun experience you had with filming this season?
Wow, it's a really hard one to try and have
It was
fun.
really fun. We
Whoa.
have a scene where we were looking out the window, and it was just us two. That was really fun.
Yeah, there's a scene where we're looking at the window hoping that the Romans don't find us,
And we had
but
to time our duck, and
Our
we couldn't get
duck
it
and-
right. I couldn't get my lines right. It was fun.
so yeah, those
And then
moments are
Dallas
fun.
was like making us laugh in the middle of the tape. It's like we're rolling, and Akis, our DOP, is rolling, and Dallas is just like, blah, 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 and he's like, it was crazy.
It was insignificant, but it was fun. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Full of intensity that's new to the show. I mean, there's always that's been there, but 5 ratchets it up, and we're about to shoot 6, which ends in the crucifixion, and it's just the tension level gets higher and higher.
With this season, it covers a shorter time period, and the events are getting more and more intense. With this season, what should people be most excited for?
My character. Oh, hey, listen. I think, in general, I just have to answer that generally. Every season has just been growing and this thing started out as a little,
Right.
Dallas was creating this in his backyard, and now it's become this epic, global masterpiece. So it grows and grows. And specifically, I could tell you, you're going to see a very exciting we go toe to toe. My character, King Herod, with Caiaphas. It's a big scene. I think it's in episode 2 tonight, and it's kind of a bit of an explosion that happens there. And the story is, specifically, somebody will be able to tell you more than that. But I'm also I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything. I'm sort of a fan as well. I'm gonna be surprised in what's been cut together tonight. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Big question for you is, so obviously you're not really this tall.
Not that tall, no.
No. So how do you do that in the show?
Change angles.
Change angles?
Yeah, change angles and force perspective. So it's very much camera trickery, which is incredible. And we can shoot it in real time. So it's not like it's done after the show in post. We get to actually work out together at the same time and to work on set. So it's very clever, but very easy at the same time. Sorry, there's not a more in-depth answer.
Well, actually, that's the part of filming that Sean really likes, so that just made him really happy.
So I mean that was definitely the objective, and I'm glad you enjoy that part of it, and I hope you enjoy the story. Awesome.
Very much so.
Thank you very much.
Only gotten a chance to see the first 3 episodes so far, but enjoyed what we've seen so far.
Enjoy the rest. Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you.